relationships in the organization นะthì cái dạng này nói thì mình mong mình cho church or mình cho cái họ được professional thì mình bao dung mình bao tại every organization như more structure giờ mình đủ thì mình từ nay khá tao mình là VP president mình bao tại how your company structured and normally it would be things like production worker là she the line worker, then you have your lead worker, your supervisor, then your manager. Then there may more many plant and there might be divisional manager. Then VP there for certain department. Then need to CEO, that's usually how the structure by authority. The structure man matter. How you top on structure. So I thought that got your production worker. Then you go to your lead worker, then you go to your supervisor, then your manager. That's why we said that most production worker hardly see 2-3 level up. Okay? So you're not going to see your divisional leader, you're not going to talk to your CEO unless you have a super friendly CEO that walks around the company. So very few times as production worker or your normal staff or your receptionist will deal with a president. So it depends on your organization chart that may want to be your level of authority. It's actually very inappropriate to make authority. There will be some people who will be very honest and say, oh, you can't talk to me, you have to talk to your supervisor first. Okay, so they moment they think hard to lose, especially me guy you won't check out. Yeah. Or I'm not talking to you, or you can't come to me. You have to talk to your supervisor or talk to your manager first, and then they can come. If you walk right into your president's office, they probably think you have a bomb or something. Yeah, why are you coming to the president's office? Yeah, you talk to your lead worker, your supervisor, your manager, your department head, your VP of your department. So I want to see the president. But the point is no, yeah, why? Yeah, he's so busy, he doesn't have time for you. There's people under him that's watching you like that. Yeah, in the church, many more certain amount of structure, That's structure, man, to do some good. First, do you know your leadership structure? It does help if you do know. Does your structure have a bottleneck? I thought that basically, you more too much red tape, even though we're not the government, but we still have issue in the church. How does your structure enhance or hinder ministry? Then what they call structure, but to enhance ministry, some do now. Bottleneck would be, and bad structure would be things like, and this is just me and my guilt. There will be things like the board overseeing not J ministry. Okay, and that is an issue because we don't really know what goes on in not J. So we have to do not J. I always apologize. I don't come to you not J every week. I don't know all your issues and concerns. So being try to be a little more loose with not J. You can't really get to the heart of the women's ministry now. We're all men, we don't attend, we don't know them, we don't hear the gossip. So that's a tiny issue. Why do you guys bring it up? So we don't know the world. And so bottleneck, suffer, but everything goes through the board. Board needs to even children and other ministry. We just keep voting yes and no without having enough information. So I want to show you how our structure is, or was, and now. Oh, that's the is. That's the old structure when I became pastor. And this is very similar to most Hmong. You have the governing board, and Sifu's part of it, but you just have the governing board. And then they oversee everything in the church. Okay, so maybe a small group, you might have a few too, but for baby, more men, women, youth, children, praise and worship, deacon, usher, everybody reports to the board. Okay, so our structure is very similar. Our board back then was consisted like 25 or 30 people. Everybody has the right to come to board meeting. Okay, so you can tell what kind of headache and how long the meeting is. No wonder it's 10 hours. So you have 30 brains and every mouth wants to say something. Okay, so a simple topic. Each one, the less the board, the better. That be more good leader. But like I learned from my colleagues again. Their church has 5,000 people. And they have, I think, 8 or 9 boards, such as 7 boards, okay? And so our church is 10%. We have about 600 or 700, and we have 9 elders. You know, you have to go to child. You should cut down your elders. Yeah, you don't need 10 elders or whatever on the board. I know that everybody wants to say something. Everybody thinks they're smart. But things is just too slow. Man. The larger the body for meeting, the harder it is. Even though you think it's clear cut, it's never clear cut. The next person will say something, the third person will say something totally different, fourth person, they're all part of the same time. But when we used to do this, it was a hindrance to ministry. Because I remember clearly some of the issue. So we have a lady in charge of children's ministry. So she wants to use a curriculum that she saw on the internet or she read about. But we wanted to do Hmong district's curriculum. Well, of course, the board never studied. The board just said, hey, and they just turn it down. That's it. The reason? Because we're Hmong, so we use Hmong district. We don't use anybody else's. And so, I get shut down. I was only an elder at that time. Shut down. So everybody reports to the board. The board meet once a month. So we have an issue where, okay, first Sunday is sunny out, nice and clear. The youth want to do their gathering outside and they want to play ball afterward. But the board haven't met. Well, next week it's not going to be nice and sunny like today. Nice and sunny is right now. And the board said, well, we can approve you playing at the park until the board meeting. So when you have structure like this, everything goes through the board, means everything get passed monthly if they're faithful and they get to your item. Then things are very slow. Either that or everybody's breaking the rules. It's not approved, but let's just go play, who cares? Yeah, and it's just happened to be a nice winter. We didn't propose that we play volleyball in December, but it's nice. Let's just do youth outside. And so everybody just breaks the rule. Who cares about approval? So you got to there's all things that, 70 degrees in December in Appleton is once in a lifetime. So we can't propose, because next month we propose, it's back to December in Wisconsin. So when you follow, everybody report to the board. Report to the board, it slows down the process a lot. And the board are 9 men, and some church could be young, some are very old, some have no idea what children and usher do, and deacon does. So they're voting on things without proper knowledge, but they have the authority. So it becomes a stumbling block. And when I came, I changed this, and it's not easy. So when I changed it, an elder resigned right away. So it was a hard time, but we managed. This is our current structure. Our current structure, I'm sorry you can't read it, but you could. It's similar to that, just have more detail. Yeah. Thank you for the media guide. So Bemo governing board, Bemo Sifu oversee these things, and the Bemo elder led teams. Okay, so this is just us, and you modify however it fits you. So every ministry, which is the teaching ministry, they will meet monthly with Sifu. Okay, monthly we have ministry meeting. So we want board meeting, weekly ministry meeting on my own calendar. The ministry people, they will propose. Now Jay's going to Creation Museum, youth is going to Mackinac Island. This year they're going at night. You're single down at night. So they're going to Washington, D.C. Praise and worship is buying a new sound system that costs like $7,000. That's all these things, you're under Sifu at the monthly meeting. Everybody that you're under Sifu ministry team, look forward into trust that Sifu will make the most appropriate decision. Okay? You're being authorized. You're the Sifu Kuchilai for Timing, the Sifu Chibao, the Sifu will take out the Sifu, bring it to the board. But no one in ministry ever goes to the board. Jen never comes to board meeting, Sunday school, youth, they never come. Okay? They have their own monthly meeting, their leader meets with Sifu, and then if need to, they go to the board, and Sifu will bring it to the board. Yes, Sifu should bring it, Sifu can decide it, but I know that for you it may be different. In our church, they may authorize Sifu, and so I have some leniency. making decisions for ministry. Everything, you build a ministry all day, no seafood. Isn't that hard for seafood? It is, but it's easier for the board. That's why our board meeting is less than 2 hours. We have to put that too long enough. They want to yin ji mo go ji all the time. Ji gong flow at all, ji gong not j at all. Ji gong single, not ji gong senior. They just pop in and out when they have to. Like if they belong to a certain group, they do attend. That's why they're not consistently, they're not part of the board. But Sifu actually is more involved. So he's not excellent, but he's a little better than the elder. Like I go teach that JCJ, I used to teach them once a month, or I would join the meeting when I have to. I used to run youth. And so because of that, the youth are senior, at night 3 of the 17 or 3 are Sifu run. Okay, you're just senior, you're more hot to, but I supervise. Okay, and then the ministry. So the payout in order you need a very experienced pastor. Okay, you need someone who's experienced, and you need a pastor who's active in every ministry. Then Sifu can make decisions for them, and the longevity and seniority helps. To how the board in the Sifu makes the right decision. And so it's a lot of little things that you have to make sure. But I'm just showing you our structure, so you can do whatever's best for you. But in our church, okay, the governing board, we have support that you come to the meeting, that's 90% of your job. We need your ideas, we need your vote, we need you to direct the church. But you don't have to know the detail. I am the paid staff, I run the church. So also, Sifu you have to class more. Yeah, they have support that. So me your vote, or that's your yes, if we even, the which book can store and even may vote to cool what Jira, each just if who was so. Monday to Friday they go to work. Yeah, and the contractor can't get hold of them. And then we have a problem with the contractor wants to come, but they don't come. So who to man our delegate had into elder who what the kulu he. That's my neutral who's in that. Neutral who's it, who agrees on the contract. After I call you, then you call pastor. They'll tell you if the money sounds right, they'll open the door for you, they'll walk it with you and test the system when you're done. It's still Sifu who actually meets the contractor and makes sure the job is done right and the contract is affordable. In fact, even copy people delegate to 1 week they don't get one contractor. They did tell you, oh yeah, they approved I fix the window. Actually, Sifu sorry, you can go come and time you go who 3 contractors give us the best estimate. Because I support that I know you don't like it, but how we get the job done if your pastor doesn't do it? All of you are just worried about going to bed early and getting up at 8 a.m. to go work. Yeah, and even if the contractor say, hey, I'll come and get AC right now, none of you will come anyway. You just call Sifu anyway. So, this is a lot of work for the pastor. It's a little more informed than everybody going to the board. A bit more issue where the worship team wants to move some of the instrument, and they want to sing certain song, but every elder will tell them how to do worship. Okay, every elder will say, "Oh, that bass is too loud. Can you guys move it back?" It's like elder, what they sign up? Maybe 5 or 6 wire going around with the 3 mics and stuff. What tape on it? We'll move. And they come crying to me as if we took all day to set up the stage. He doesn't like it. It's dirty, it's messy on the stage. So we took everything out apart. But it's just the idea that you have so many balls. Every board member thinks they're the boss of the church. They go out that you're frustrating all our teams. So that's why when you report to the pastor, in general, the pastors are more compassionate, and you're only doing it with 1 guy's opinion instead of 10 guys' opinion or not. There's that longevity, that trust, and they know that they cannot do it now. Well, you don't want seafood too, then go ahead. Why don't you be the contact person for men? You're the liaison for man ministry. Yeah, that's my way that I never go to men's ministry anyway, so go decide, who cares? Eventually they will learn that not every elder is that active. Yeah. So bigger elder, they come with hot heads, especially when follow what's going on in ministry. They're voting for things they have no idea. So the problem with this structure is that the authority goes to the pastor. And so each board member, they are lucky is only one guy that's really adamant. He really hated it. He thought, why do we do the whole structure where everybody reports to the board? Now we're going to this, everybody reports to Sifu. No board, they feel like they don't have any authority. They feel like things are happening without them knowing. So it's the idea of power struggle. I'm not trying to fight for power. If one elder want to watch men, one elder want to watch women, one elder want to watch youth, you could do that. If one elder promises that anything that brings to the church, I will call 3 contractors, because that's our practice. You call 3 estimates and you show up for all 3. If anybody can do that job, go ahead. You're in charge of fixing the church. But at the end, the elder go volunteer and they always apologize. Like, Sifu, the roofer wants to come at 9 a.m. They said the next free might be 2 days, 3 days. Don't worry, I just stop and see him. Before you can apologize, I think the best thing last time we proposed that we proposed that this project, Sifu leaves. Sifu will get it done. Georgia Bay, change the window, could be a month. We're just going to freeze for the next 1 month. We can't get it right. We cannot get 3 contractors in here. No one has time to meet 3 contractors to walk through and to assess what is appropriate. So, they like that structure. Everybody reports here. We do have a few teams that doesn't report to Sifu. So they're either led by elders or they report directly to the board. So we have the auditor, which are not amenable to anybody that auditor. We have the usher, which is chosen by Bayout to Kenya. So all they do is the offering and the counting. They sign off the offering up. The usher put a team of 8 or 10. So they rotate 4 per week. And so they rotate. Their job is to sign off the offering for the week. But they're chosen by the treasurer. They work with the treasurer. The treasurer keeps the record, but the usher certify how much was collected and stuff like that. Deaconess is run by an elder. So our deacon does not oversee every ministry, but we use them mainly for cooking. But it's led by an elder. Okay. So in the past, people 18 deacon, no one's on the board. That's why people know how and we limit that people deacon we use 5 times per year. So anything more, we use on that. So we use them for Thanksgiving, Easter, Christmas and New Year, and then church picnic and one more. But any party besides that, but you ask deacon because their job is to do 5. And so the board don't know how they need the budget, they need to run the food item and stuff. They basically that is good if an elder leads the deacons. So that's from it. And then the maintenance, we do have a group that actually does repair. She did new doors and things that where the custodian doesn't have time. But the custodian are part-time, so you can do your staff, to clean, so it's plenty of work for him to do, and he just made it clean, which is toilet, vacuum, everything. Is actually a leader, elder that led that team. So in our board, we have the governing board, we have senior pastor, elder-led team, and then we have these 4 structures. But in your church, you have to decide what's best. And your church might still work if you're small enough where the board and then everybody, you might still work for you, okay? But you could assign individual elder to lead, or the pastor can lead, or whatever the case. But back to the original question, make sure your structure doesn't hinder your ministry, okay? Structure, not everything is too slow, everything needs to be monthly, everything needs to be planned months ahead. We can never do anything spontaneous. Your system is not working out for life. It's not always planned 6 months or a year ahead. You have to make sure your structure works for you. And then you follow this structure where everything goes to the pastor. Make sure your pastor agrees. There are pastors that does everything, and there are pastors that say, I'm just doing the spiritual thing. Pastor, the non-teaching prayer, it's the elder's job. And sometimes it comes to pay, sometimes it comes to authority. most young people, you pay them $10-15 an hour. You expect me to do everything in the church? Yeah, I can't do that. In fact, I'm working part-time on the side. So, 这只是妇女去干活好，只要考个学分就超过每次办事的。No, I'm not gonna supervise the staff and then oversee the ministry. That's just too much for me. Yeah. So, you have to do what's best for your church and how well. 这是用中在的 pay staff 嘛，每次来报上 job description 上呢，和 all your volunteer anything goes well. Managing volunteers is harder than managing paid staff. Paid staff, you can threaten them, but you'll be fired. You can't fire your head of women because she just said, okay, you don't look around at Gina, bye. Because she come on, I have to not take a pin, I don't run, volunteer staff is harder. There's no punishment, no repercussion against them. You're happy that they volunteer, it's not basically. You got their volunteers start, when you start to put your foot down and they start to quit, that's it. There's no contract, no tie. These things are very sensitive. At the same time, the fact that they work, you have to make it a little easy. As leader, as pastor, we have to be report that we are the backup team to every team. And we have. There's times when we couldn't find worship team. They got too long on the 70s, 60s. That's to prove to them, that's what happens if you don't step up. But we are the backup. We have elders who led worship, elders who led Sunday school. I haven't led Najee, but I have led youth back and forth. Every time the youth pastor is gone, I go back to youth. I led seniors. So I'm like the youngest senior ministry. I attend and I try to lead them. So you just staff, you look for how to see food. Everybody just have to work together. How much is the seafood is willing? Are we compensating him? Are we asking too much or not enough? All those things matter, but your structure, you need to think it through and put it in picture. You have to be able to draw up your structure and say who reports to who and does what. So when we the question, there's one thing I want to touch after this. When we the question about structure.
Question 考我刚才的那本身个那时间的个我只要是来什么，我哎呀，我被至少 talk about it, and we don't want it, nobody want it. Okay, block it to us that chunk off. Nobody get away from it. So,
every time there's an incident, so one is incident per incident. So, Church hardly has never more than 10. The most we have funeral would be 4 to 6 per year. They should be paid. Generally, 1 or 2 funeral per year. So for us, it's easy. But the more incident, they do next week. It to in charge of that funeral. We don't volunteer to do the funeral. But usually, if you're doing the honors food or Christian family, you plan the service, you do what is right. Go to Najee, go to CJ, next funeral, if they talk to Zilao. If they are talk the people have the right to refuse anyway. So that it's easy. I'm not Japan. Where anytime someone dies or there's a party, they automatically call a deacon. We have to put a foot down. The deacon serves the church, not you. No, people have to put a foot down. Whenever the board authorizes, the deacon can work. But just because your family is doing a big retirement party, you can't just ask the deacon, hey, deaconess, send 10 people or send 6. Okay. No, they only serve the church. They don't serve families. They don't serve personal party. Okay. Funeral, you can consider it personal. Como funeral, they got who just food. You got you who you can you got who just food. Member could depend on the church 100%. And everything is the way the church wants. Hands off. Take care. Both sides. 但是被记住or half and half. So how we run into issue where half your PD, half your children, we don't really know who's in charge, and sometimes there's unexpected conflicts. So that's how we take care of things that are not church events. Would you wait to chant that?
cái
Go on.
của tao ta khó cho chúng nó đấy họ cứ rong hay là tất nhiên mà giờ họ lên nói thì tôi sẽ cứ mà họ responsibility tao này nhà chúng nó
Yeah.
mà thua đi phá men sẽ cứ yêu chủ tôi vô với sĩ bất tận họ giờ một lên một lá chi sẽ cứ yêu tao trong bao hai yêu tao cài quá tới của cha the problem nhà lên nó sư phụ nhà muốn nó mà bé ta mỗi khó cài lại được sư phụ ở tiêu đồng đó lâu chơi cho nên nhỏ được sư nhà bé chúng ta cài ta sư phụ tôi có chỗ là tiêu chỉ biết ta bây giờ ta có phần chơi thu rau hai phần chơi nó ở trên nó một cái nổ là bé tàu mỗi cho trên lồng cừ nhà trụ phần chơi sư phụ từ cho hai xe làm sao vì nó họ giả tàng luôn đó bên một cái mẹ sẽ là hà tôi sẽ cứ bị phù tôi sẽ cứ nó nhau nó đang họ tôi ấn tế bản đây để cho áp phản gì tôi áp phản tôi bây giờ có sáng chưa tôi sẽ cứ đã mà bây giờ tôi nó thầu lại và bây mong cài lại rồi con nữa bây giờ ta bây mong nó mặn đi bây mong nó Sunday Monday bây giờ nó show nó Monday show nó show mà nó Monday nó show ha then nó gì số Monday Tuesday Wednesday Thursday and Friday chủ nhật chế vì thằng biết chúng mua tổ chế thì biết chúng mua ở bên tôi nhau cho nên nhắc về nó chế cho nên nhưng mà nhau chế chúng nó chưa nhiều cái bên khu là tao này anh này phải khác tu nó tôi thật cái bên ôn à ở tôi theo luôn chỉ biết cái là chỉ muốn cái là tôi nói này là cái tôi thấy cái này các cha sinh nhiều cái nó có sự chỉ trong đây nơi đấy tôi thấy cứ nhà quá nó nhỏ hẳn cái tao này chỉ tôi thấy béo nữa là béo star là cái là nó tao nó nhỏ từ cái nó rồi cái nhỏ từ của nhỏ tại hàng đó giờ tôi thấy phong sa tại giờ tôi sẽ cứ nhau nói cho chị cái hạt chính món cả rồi từ nơi này để sau nó thì bé thực cũng bù cho cho từng chế phát triển để bé sáng tại giờ chỉ nó mong là bà con biết miếng định ta nó bé cảm sự sau đó mà bé tao cả là sẽ cứ lột vô bé sáng là bé muốn nó mang đến số bé muốn nó Sunday Monday hay là day off đó sẽ nó thu xem tôi Friday cho nên tao nhau chế gì tôi mong hay bao là giờ chẳng đó tao phải chuẩn bị bộ đó đó là mà bé cho最早的被去莫喊到说那种当时是哈那，这也本身把卖了嘛，这就是我意思我要学的那么为这个战争那个说来讲，叫老来讲，这个么谈不说传统的，要办这个事，那反正还一呢，好，我用叫，他就叫阿史，mà bây giờ bé nó lấy mẹ là chỉ mà lấy mẹ vì sao ta hôm bé là bé mấy tuổi sao giờ cũng mà cũng sao cả bé sao lấy mẹ tất nhiên giờ đi bé sao đó chỉ cho một phần nhân trong là trời để chúng mà ở bé là bao vào đây bởi vì ní giờ cho áp nóจะcứ lúc thay vì lúc tăng phần trên là cũng sao cả bé cho sự là cứ xem áp hành của bao nó bé bây giờ sẽ đào của họ nó nói
Our first question about Sifu is up to you. How structure so that when you ask any of your person that serve in the church, do they know their team and who they report to? You should try to understand hey, you know who you report to, who you're supposed to be accountable to. And oh yeah, I do. Yeah, they're gonna need money. You know who to go to for budgeting. So that makes it 一包了，那些 that means you have a structure whether you can write it out or not. And you may have to write it out so that you have a visual of that who reports to who, so that everybody understands exactly who they may ask for help and assistance and more money, and if they want to resign, who do they talk to, if they need ideas, who they need to talk to. So then so yeah, anybody I can go ask them exactly that, hey, do you know who you talk to when you need help? You're good. So, yeah. So structure does that. It allows you to see clearly who you're accountable to and who you report to. So, but you have to make a personal issue. Then it's up to the board to decide. So I work out of food and you report it decide. And to directly relate, actually, who seafood oversee is related to the structure. Seafood, your shy more like ministry, and she shy look more shy that is structure related. But they work out how much you spend time on and off. It's up to me, but you may have to discuss that on your own time. Got that, you can do.
Cú lo, cú bắt đầu với tụi yên hà cho cú học cái chuyện cú rồi là cái tết chỉ cho rồi là cú lúc sáng sáng bây giờ là
chỉ clear rồi, chỉ là cái lúc sáng sáng mình đúng rồi. Không được.
Nó ta bên trên nó bé bộ有么好怕nó là bé sáng có么好怕，但是不当个还路的。เขาหอบผ้าแล้วแต่ซื้อฟิล์มเป้าละแล้วนะแต่เป็นยาซื้อฟิล์มซื้อเราได้ชิมาจงเลยคือแต่อย่างแต่จะเรียกว่า emergency ฮะแล้วนะจะ
เขาก็จะอย่างจงเลยเขาตั้งคือชื่อสำนักงานมีชื่อ the purpose of the church นั่นเองนี่มันแต่อย่างคือเป็นจอจะเป็นเขา context นั่นแหละมีอย่างว่าจะ purpose of mission จะมันจะ set ไปว่ามันกูละ但是 the goals and objective 和的用了背后这种来讲 to reinforce， 那来背后倡导，那叫 project 背后 reinforce 倡导，要背后 grow youth， 背后 idea 要 bring youth pastor， แล้ว she have a bigger team， แล้ว she take out the 18-year-old allow them in there， แล้วจะจัดได้ a small project， แล้ว should we do more like teach the youth to retreat and camp include แต่แล้วจะ project แล้วจะจนแล้วจะ有个么叫好 pack relate 就叫 project 那些either 叫 youth leader bring it up， 有些副偶是 youth 的找师傅 bring it up 到，有没有 youth pastor 的，或者本身呢咯分到的有的师傅我了应要，有没有播出来我了应要了呢？就我这样那叫 project mainly， 有我这样给他哦呀师傅的那 bring out the idea of renting a new church，but as a board member I think that's great。But you could not to your voice that they like that. So I think let's talk about it as a board. But they look board to set out your goal for next year. Yes, if you don't need that, they the board meet on the board to annual meeting to put the time as a board that hey, all these ideas are flowing, but we can't possibly do 10 things. But let's pick up the 3 that we want to achieve next year. Try church, try youth pastor, change the worship time, whatever the case. Your goal Fin到那师傅，但是如果you want the right to establish them, we want the right to 叫做谈在相差咯。There's things that the church need to do to be better. And look board should bring it up at your board meeting and propose it and pass it. 师傅也to chairman or to leader， 但是是可以我在 set 的。
Thank you. Yeah, we know that I think Sifu Padaka idea when you guys restructured, there was an elder that opposed to the changes. And we all know that every, any changes, people are more resist to it.
Yeah.
When you guys had that issue, did it create a division in the church or conflict, and how did you guys address it?
Every church is different. So I'm speaking from my experience. The majority had so he was one of 8 elders or 9 elders at that time. He should agree that so we just took a hard no stand. Most church majority or like middle ground people, most church that's why it's good to have a good leader. The leader, the don't good leader, good church, bad leader, bad church. So
Did it create influence among the members?
No. The majority had it can't get on. The pay part of the elder resigned. The pay the shown up let it go. 但是你去 create 下的他你什么 chance to propose 来还，要来你去年好你加入下了，一直到一个 propose at annual meeting，有么多年呀，但 he doesn't like the structure，但是你估计来打你还得去做了，不会 follow 叫 board 还是不会 follow 的要 structure 了，对 agree 哈，就好像被家拿过是呢，并还是不的还叫 ministry leader， 并且叫个 express frustration 了哈。所以当go through the board say we propose 那这 proposal 去了，那 board 就 vote no， 所以不得去包含公园的，真的呢，也不会 frustrated。Yeah, I like to have Sifu in charge 哈。At least I can just talk to Sifu， 那是talk ku 30个都是 Sifu 了呢，就别莫了呢，where 对那这对罗对的，或者 Hey Sifu, I'm thinking about this. You think it's a good idea? You don't know what time 了，也要给大家 sounds good， 那是 Sifu 嘛，你 tend to be a little more flexible 哈，就可能。they could involve some things are spiritual. You know, the youth lacking, no ma youth lacking in the church, they don't allow you to pass, no ma. Just don't know who get the church more to the first instinct, you know, bây giờ rồi tôi bùi tao chơi nó sẽ được có tài bảo, yeah, so. But as a pastor, you understand this culture. Thì bảo ta đấy, thì bây giờ nhà bùi nhà, chỉ có tôi có xia trong bên này thì một bữa sao, bây giờ khai văn chỉ xử lu, bây giờ mang rong bằng mọi sự fellowship time, thì người nó sẽ phải used to them. Tao bây giờ biết chơi một lúc chiều, thì biết tôi có thể tao này cứ, như là lúc chiều nó được connect cho nó có divider, chứ mà, thì vậy tao này là咩我試到那背後嗰最大隻厝啦，我講到嗰你要摸背後嗰最我試了咩啦 ？It's one room with a divider。但是我哋背後 so the gym is we bought a gym, but it's only for setting up chair on it。嗱，啲邊人說 it's not practical. We bought the church so they could use the gym for parties, for gathering, for fellowship. It took a long time。ไม่ทราบargument ว่าเฉยแต่ไม่เพลง到只要到啱咗啦，啲人講啦，對，it's a school. It was built as a gym。因為在咯，師傅咩那都都 play ball 咩都咪要靠監我呢，it's just out of fear. I told the board we bought the church because we want the gym. We're gonna eat in the gym, party in the gym. Yeah, being 洗腦 gym to the max. That's 18 years ago. Tony so used to it. You know, but Tony she sign up. She thinks she gym no more. Now JCJ, everybody wants sports day. Now J wants exercise day. Youth wants their own party. They're not. Whenever people come to our church, the only thing they said is, "We love you, Jim." I wish our church has a gym. Yeah. They talk about chai base na, have been sang how pay. They structure no matter what it is, you have to stick with the majority and do what's best, and you allow people to have the flexibility. And I was the one that fight hard for it. 咁人家 baseball 就可以包的，喊到了是福音去年，是福音年不喜欢讲啦，不影下了啊，是福音大个，被有到了车就喜欢讲，不然就不的，有路讲的讲被有路车了嘛，被我们有路车个么好吃不是，就要被伢路讲哦 ，we say now our kids can finally play 啦，当年一 slowly 下半波哈嘛，可以包的呀，就没得随意伢就了，就那种说可以的。有没有车什么好 fellowship hall 好这样那些集中的了弄么 ？But it does take time to convince people. But it will be shut down. 被招这个波，the board 也叫给他去播新 next to chapel， 去播做那么 next to chapel. We did have some of those issues. It is hard, but you do have to allow people to slowly blend in.
Hey, we see how color like
Yeah.
I think we need to close as soon as possible. Do me nhỏ thì muốn làm được, mà cái cứ mong phát triển.
Bữa nay ta last day ha, xong rồi thì trong cái việc số mấy khó hành luôn, thì tôi sẽ phải go ahead go ask các họ. Thank you, Susan.
It's a lot of information for us one in a day, so thank you so much. Các họ structure, that means that civil have oversee of every department, right?
All the ministry, yeah.
Okay, so when civil got the right, all everything, you make a decision. For example, like, okay, civil got the right to move. Say to law, still have to go to their elders, and their elder to decide our question here. All you have the civil got the right so you have to oversee everybody, every meeting. Y'all know what? JCJ, Mujo Deaconess. Say who's supposed to go to every meeting, right? Not supposed to go to every meeting. What's this for? Learn more, you should more. Y'all don't get deaconess, and y'all know what? Y'all didn't know what. You don't need a bunch of mother nature. You don't. This is my baby punching. You baby punching. Not just try. Come on, the double try. Cause I have a structure. Từ hồi vợ chồng bé bé yêu linh đến bao đó, cho tới khi nào bé bé muốn chỉ sợ xí lên họ, nên có thể sự oversee everything. So don't know. Bé bé nhận chế rồi, bé tí chúng muốn nhận chế rồi, bé tí chúng muốn chế, bé chúng muốn nhận chế kiện này xưa, giờ mới có issue tôi, giờ mua sống một cỏ mua năm mua họ mới shop cái này, bé yêu trái cái thứ đó là nên rồi nó là chỉ có sao vậy, nên có một lần tàu phân chân mấy bé nào bé chỉ mà từ thế đi trong. Last question, you have to oversee everything. If you chip out, they know that. You know, right like this, if you step down, what's our chairman? If you pay our chairman, go about that, you come our chairman.
All those things depends on your church. Like I call sample, so that there's all the structure and all the ways of doing. Only you know what's best for your church. The system works, that's my. Sifu have to supervise, Sifu to make decision for everything. There are times when they propose some things and I say, I have to bring it to the board. That's not filtering, I made decision for them all the time. Majority, we make a simple question like changing curriculum, going picnic, retreat, if you like it, I said, go ahead, if your leader team think it's good. They don't authorize, actually, if they ask, we complicate. Like one time a leader want to propose getting rid of the whole youth board. It's almost bang shake up role eat to run, so she's food run, I say, we have never done that. Go supervise me, that she may more me report to run me for youth, you need to report your goose. The yellow, you made a more report, eat to all autocratic, who run the Usanga Chijon, the Green had to report that. Maybe sang của cho rồi cho cho lấy mỗi go to leader, since mỗi bang inside as a team. Okay, we did vote as a board that no, they have to stick with the church structure. They have to be a youth board, and so there are times when I cannot make decisions, and that's why it takes experience and the wisdom. Just because I'm in charge doesn't mean I make decisions. That I am there first. They should talk to me first. But I will sometimes there are things I say, I have to go to the board on that one. It's just too much. Let's say they rent a bus, and I can approve easily 500 to 1,000, but your bus will cost you 2,000-3,000. So I need to talk to the board. Go over budget by 2,000-3,000. So there are times when I do have to bring it to the board. That bang filter, they are easy. How do I attend all their meetings? No. The board. Soft budget. I bet too much about your team. Or I put your leader that's very capable. So I jump in this ministry when I want to. I have another issue with some of the monthly ministry meeting. The book hackers, you do anything, you red flag, you all look, you could let it go. I just basically supervise which run the ministry now, the supervisor. Yeah, we have to what's best for your church, the new structure, the old structure, or either a different one. It depends on you, and you may not have 15 departments, you might only have 5 or 3. Maybe the whole structure might work for you. I mean, everybody go to the board meetings, that could work for you. So that's up to your church. Okay. All right, thank you. Your question also, once again, this is what works for my church, so I use it as an example. I don't expect that you do exactly the way we do. So your population is different, your leadership is different, and so different. You should talk about the structure. That's the thing. You have to go back and say, what is our structure? Yeah, who do we report to? Do I have like 9 other bosses, or do I have 1 boss? And if I need approval, who do I talk to? You should talk about it at least. Structure. I know exactly what I'm doing, right? And accountable to or the details of how you want to do it. It's up to you. Thank you for your time. I'm sorry, just ask questions.